Same-sex couples have always gone backlash for various reasons because they do not follow society's expectations of the norms. Back in 1938, homosexuals were prisoners and put into concentration camps. Others found as if being gay was a phase and not being normal at the time. The LGBTQ plus community has been fighting for their rights since the 1960s. In the year 2015, same-sex couples were given the right to adopt children. Today, in July 2020, the President of the United States demands adoption agencies should be able to reject gay couples to adopt, but does not allow them to build a family. Others are not aware of the inequality that happens behind closed doors. People tend to believe the traditional norms of society. For example, a woman represents the domestic side and the man represents the masculine side. Seeing something different than the normal can be confusing to society seeing same-sex couples. After immense research of the LGBTQ plus adoption rights and visiting the websites of committed organizations, I've learned the history of LGBTQ parenting. Those who express their disagreements towards the rights of those associated with the LGBTQ plus community having to do with the same-sex adoption tend to be conservatives. The most outspoken advocate being Donald Trump, the President of the United States. Proven alone from Trump's action demands, discriminatory opinions fuel the discussion about whether it is appropriate or not for same-sex couples to be able to adopt, which should not be up for debate, as to the 9th Amendment and several other acts prohibit this right to be taken away from the people. Furthermore, the adoption process as a whole can be extremely long and complex. There are different types and depends on what situation you are in. There is foreign, domestic, independent, and adoption for foster care. An adoption is an option for those who want to expand their family, and it is also there as a resource as a second option for some families. As stated in the article, a total of approximately 125,000 children have been adopted annually in the United States in recent years, a sharp drop since the century-long high point of 177,000 adoptions in 1970. Many children do not have homes. It is a great ability to have everyone have the chance to adopt children since there are so many in the foster care system. When adopting, you can adopt an infant privately, internationally, or from foster care. The costs and expenses vary for each. In 2012, approximately 52,000 children were waiting to be adopted in the foster care system. This is revealing that there are so many individuals that want children and can provide for kids that their biological parents were not able to do. Aside from adopting, citizens have rights as the Bill of Rights. The 9th Amendment is indicating enumerated rights. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be constructed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. The 9th Amendment is indicating the rights of the people are not limited, referring back to the LGBTQ plus community. Their rights are being limited because individuals like Trump do not care because his opinions are not satisfied. It is a law that same-sex couples can adopt. It started in the year 2015. Dana Rudolph wrote, "Several other states continue to ban unmarried couples, though effectively stopping same-sex couples from adopting until marriage equality became federal law in 2015. Based on Trump's opinion, he wants to ban same-sex couples from adopting. It is based on Donald Trump's opinion, belief, and his conservative party because the government does not like to see reform of same-sex adoption. He does not want to advocate nor validate the LGBTQ plus community rights because he refuses to challenge his confirmation bias. The Equality Act is also representing that the LGBTQ plus community that should not be limited. The Civil Rights Act of 1964. The Equality Act is a current bill, and Donald Trump does not put that into consideration. This is hurtful to adoption rights because they are being discriminated against by their sexuality. Aside from being treated unequally based on what your sexuality, 2 other acts are showing same-sex couples have approval by the government, also shown in many acts that were passed by the state. The Human Rights Campaign thoroughly clarifies that every child deserves a family act and the Fair and Equal Housing Act. The website indicates that every child deserves a family act would prohibit any public child welfare agency receiving federal financial assistance from discriminating against any potential foster or adoptive family based on actual or perceived sexual orientation, gender identity, or marital status. The website also expresses that the Fair and Equal Housing Act will provide consistent and explicit non-discrimination protections for LGBTQ people in housing by adding sexual orientation and gender identity as protected characteristics under the Fair Housing Act. These two acts are showing that the LGBTQ plus community have rights just like everyone else and should not be limited based on how others view same-sex couples. The LGBTQ plus community has been fighting for their rights since 1938. When being put into concentration camps over the centuries, their rights have been unnoticed and put into consideration. Same-sex couples wanted the same right as others to adopt children. Our president does not believe that the LGBTQ plus community should have the same rights as other couples. Even though a law was passed in 2015, same-sex couples were allowed to adopt. Donald Trump feels that adoption agencies should be able to reject same-sex couples to adopt even though they have the right to, which is showing his character and how biased he is towards the community. He is showing inequality towards same-sex couples because of his authority and beliefs. Thank you.